performance on wheels. This is the 2020 Land Rover Discovery Sport 290 HSE.
That's the top trim level in 2020 with that Discovery Sport. Guys, we're gonna take a peek at the Discovery Sport, tell you what we think of it. If you're in the market for it or just watching another car review, join us for the ride.
The all-new redesigned front end for the Discovery I absolutely love. I love how it copies those more expensive models, even though the price tag on this one is becoming one.
Absolutely, and that is what sets it apart from the competition, such as the X3 or the GLC or even the Volvo. It's kind of a more unique design. It's not as cookie cutter. The other SUVs in this segment, they all look very similar. This has a distinct look to it.
Yeah.
Talking more about the front end, what do you got going on over there?
I have an intercooler right here. This goes straight to the intercooler for the turbo, and then this one is just actually blocked off.
Yeah, so there's some cooling right behind there in the wheel well.
Yeah.
And then on this side, the inner vent is blocked off. The outer vent is just kind of an air pass-through. Whether that's brake cooling or not, I'm not sure. There are some channels on the underside that would think it's more for cooling of the backside of the rotors. That would be similar to our F-Type,
yeah,
and how they cool the brakes on that in the 2015 model year.
Yeah.
We also have the adaptive cruise right here, our parking sensors, just a really nice aesthetic looking front end.
I really like it. Let's talk about the side profile of the Discovery Sport.
Yeah, Austin, right off the bat, this is over a foot shorter than that Discovery, and it's 4 or 5 inches narrower, as well as in height, it's about 4 or 5 inches.
Oh, I fully believe it. The Discovery looks huge compared to this.
Right, so this is a mid-size SUV. However, on that same line, it looks like the Discovery now. In 2020, we can see those revised front headlights as well as the grille. Very, very sharp looking on the exterior.
Yeah, I agree. It was very much so needed. It gave it a very slim, smooth look throughout the entire body design.
For sure. So Land Rover kind of entered this mid-size segment with the Freelander, which back in the day, if you ask me, it looked like a Ford Escape. And they changed that name to the Discovery brand, kind of following the heritage that the Discovery had. At one point in the early 90s, the Discovery was the brand that everyone was trying to mimic and go after. It was more or less the best-selling SUV for a brief period of time when SUVs were becoming popular. So Land Rover around 2013, 2014, they lost the Freelander and introduced the Discovery Sport.
Moving around to the back half in the back of the vehicle, this is an extremely highly optioned Discovery Sport. These are $1,500 wheels.
They have 245, 45, 21s on them. Yeah, 21-inch wheels.
Yeah, 21s all around. That's pretty impressive.
Which on the HSE trim, everything about it looks sporty. But what really sets it apart from the competition again, and there really is no competition in this regard, because it's like the luxury off-road capable SUV in that mid-size segment.
Yeah.
I would say the competition is more geared towards luxury, where this has a little more capability. You wouldn't think it on those nice-looking all-season tires on those 21-inch wheels. What else we got?
We have a sweet rear view camera spot. That would be right up here. This is actually for the mirror that turns into a display.
Yeah, up on that rear view mirror, you turn it on, turn it off, and that's where it's coming from.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a missile shooting back like this. It's pretty cool looking.
Well designed, for sure.
What do you think of the back?
I'm a huge fan of the taillights. They're probably hard to see where you guys are at right now. Stay tuned for that clip of an up-close view of these taillights. They're really aesthetically pleasing to look at.
Yeah.
We have our fog lights that you can turn off and on that headlight stock on the left-hand side of the steering wheel.
Which are unbelievably bright. I am not kidding you. It hurt my eyes driving behind this.
They definitely stand out. When you come down a bit lower, we have our exhaust facade. That's not where our exhaust is. We have a muffler with 2 tailpipes. It's not true dual exhaust by any means, but they're turned down on the bottom side of the vehicle.
Let's go ahead and check out the rear storage and trunk space on the Discovery Sport. As you can see right here, this is the backup camera, so we do have 2 cameras on the rear. Right to the left of that backup camera is the opening for our automatic trunk. Tons of storage in here. It would impress you the amount of storage there really is. Not only that, but even with this much storage, you can still electronically fold your seats down. though they do not fold up, they do fold down.
I know we were both impressed with the amount of room in the trunk as well as the interior. I was expecting the Discovery Sport to be more compact than it is. In the trunk we can find a USB port as well as a cigarette lighter port. Going back to the trunk here, we will have that big old spare. It's not a full-size spare, but it's pretty darn close. Obviously that's a temporary tire. We do have the privacy shade as well. It's hard to believe in the Discovery Sport here that there is that option for that third row seat. That is a seat that folds up. You can imagine that if you did have two people sitting back here in that third row, your storage space would be non-existent. That Discovery nameplate with Land Rover in front of it is known for family and leisure. This is a vehicle that's supposed to be out enjoying the wilderness. If you're more into the luxury side of things, you step up into that Range Rover. The Evoque is on the same platform as the Discovery Sport. So if you're not finding all the refinements that you like here, possibly the Range Rover Evoque would be a better fit for you.
As you can see above me, this is not a sunroof, but yet an awesome panoramic glass roof. We do have a slide in here that goes from the front all the way to the back here. So go ahead and take a peek at that right now.
We've walked around the exterior, showed you what we like about it. Love the exterior design in all regards. There's really nothing on the Discovery Sport I'm not a fan of. And I think Austin agrees with me as well. Let's go check out the sitting position, what the seats are like. We'll move into kind of the infotainment with Austin, and then we'll talk about driving it, wrapping up with our opinions. Like every luxury brand, it's even silly to mention, we do have that touch and go feature on the door. Getting in is pretty effortless. You know right away that you're getting into something special. It definitely caught Austin and I off guard. Really how nice the cabin feels on that initial entry. 6 feet tall, 220 pounds. I do have the seat down just about all the way. Controls are easy to use. They're right on the side here. The upper guy here is for your lumbar. I love the lumbar in all the JLR brand vehicles, how you can maneuver that lumbar up and down and adjust it in and out. I'm back almost all the way where I am comfortable, and I'm also down all the way. Plenty of headroom, plenty of room in here to get comfortable. I love the steering wheel. Guys, let's see what the back seat's like with where I like being in the front. Now this particular model does have the option that has the reclining as well as sliding rear seat. Getting in is effortless. There's no issues with head clearance or anything like that. I have plenty of room back here at 6 feet tall with a 6-foot driver as well. There's not a whole lot of comfort amenities back here. I do have the charging ports that I need. I do have a cup holder. Most importantly, I do get my own Meridian speaker for that amazing sound system. The seats that you are seeing here are a standard seat that comes with that HSE trim.
Let's check out the interior lighting and functions of the display at nighttime. As you can see, everything is a beautiful piano black at the moment. As I hit this illuminating start button, all of this black is going to turn into buttons, one of my favorite features on the Land Rover. As you can see, all of this lighting just came on everywhere, and it looks so nice. As you press certain buttons, different things change color to show that they're in action, and it is one of my favorite things on this car. It makes it feel so luxurious and have such a futuristic feel. Not only do the buttons on the dashboard change, but they do on the steering wheel as well. As you can see here, I have a menu button, and as I press that menu button, it's going to change into an OK button with some arrows as it changes up on the infotainment section here. So I can go under the display settings, and we can go to the layout. Currently, as you can see, I have my tachometer and my speedometer. I can go ahead and change that to really whatever I want. I can make it just one dial in the middle, just my tachometer with my speedo in the middle, or I can simply not have any of that and just have a complete map. And there's no reason I should get lost having that. You can also make it extremely simple by doing this. I also find this to be extremely intelligent by Land Rover Jaguar Group. The fact that in the settings of the vehicle, you can view the vehicle's VIN number, and no matter what, there's no way you can change the VIN number in the vehicle settings. Therefore, even if this vehicle is stolen and the VIN number is changed with the windshield taken off, you can come in the display settings and find which vehicle this truly is. As we also look through the steering wheel, we have many more controls. On the right side, we have our cruise control with adaptive cruise control. Here on the left side, we have our lane keep assist and heated steering wheel, as you can see here. This is all of our cruising things. And on the left side is more of our complete menu and also our phone. And then right above that is the Jaguar Land Rover idea of having a button that you can choose to do whatever you want. As we look at the infotainment of this vehicle, you would not think that this is from 2020 simply because of the massive lag that this system still has. As you can see, we're just on the home screen right now, but I'm going to go ahead and tap something and look at the lag. See what I mean? It's not necessarily the fastest thing around, and that could really be bothersome to some users. So I did touch on this earlier, but I didn't show it in depth. These two buttons here, if you press this one, this will do your fan speed for the fans, obviously. And on this side is our dynamic settings. So we can scroll through and go through the settings the vehicle is currently in. As you can see here, we're just going to go through those settings just to see the nice picture that Land Rover has made for us to know exactly what setting we were in. One of the big things the Jaguar Land Rover Group is really pushing in this infotainment system is something that Mercedes and Tesla and the new Mustang Mach-E are kind of pushing, and that is personalization and adapting to you personally. If we can go here, you can see that we can create our own profiles, and the vehicle will adapt to us as we use it. Such as, say we get off work, start driving home, we usually call our wife. The vehicle will ask you if you want to call your wife at that specific time. So from the factory, this does come with quite a few pretty sweet apps. If we just double tap on this home screen here, we can view our selection of apps and if we want to customize any. So let's go ahead and check out some of the apps. First of all, we have valet mode. Super nice to have. Enter a PIN, and it pretty much does a couple of things to help you out when dealing with valet. Now we can also view our cameras, of course, the Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, which this vehicle does feature. Super nice to have that from the factory. And we can also view just things that are going on with the vehicle, the eco data, how much miles per gallon we're getting, and, you know, trip, stuff like that. We can also view off-road stuff, which is super cool. If we go over here, we can view our 4x4i. So this is the off-roading screen. It is not super special. We did check out the new Land Rover Defender, and I think that is a much cooler off-road thing, which it's a much more off-road vehicle, so that's pretty self-explanatory. So this is where the smartphone aspect, the advanced AI aspect, comes into the infotainment. We can long press anywhere and basically add any app that we want from the Land Rover store. We do not have the ambient lighting package in this vehicle, so we cannot show you that awesome feature that many new luxury vehicles have.
My overall observations, are a handful of them anyways, while driving the Discovery Sport around are as follows. There are definitely some flaws that I feel are kind of cheeseball or maybe not up to par with what that price tag is that comes with the Land Rover. Let's point a few of those out. First one being the behind visor mirror and the light that comes with it. I find very odd the on-off switch and how cheap that feels. The next item that I don't know, it just kind of blows my mind, has to do with the cup holder. If you want to cover up the cup holder, you get this very handy tray that simply covers that. I would love to know who's going to use that. Now, from a design aspect, I do love the overall dash layout. I'm not a huge fan. I wish they would have followed it through. Again, talking about the price level that this vehicle is at, upwards $60,000. I wish the design from the dashboard to the door flowed a little better. Now, that's just me being picky. As far as the finishes and the way everything looks, it's really awesome. Like, it looks great. Here's the problem with it. We talk about where our phone charger port is, or our phone storage, and everything around there is this piano finish black. Everything that we touch is shiny and black. Our door handles are this shiny material. Even in the short amount of time that I have been driving this, I've noticed the massive amounts of fingerprints. If this is your daily car that you're in, between touching, shuffling keys, shuffling phones, I imagine that this interior is not gonna wear very well with time. I'll start talking about the safety features in just a minute, but the other thing I want to note is the windscreen, or the windshield, and the defrost lines that Land Rover has in them. I guess I've never really noticed it before. I don't know if it's more apparent in the Discovery Sport, or if it's just the first time I'm paying attention to it. The way I can describe it, if we're not able to pick it up on camera, is it looks like you're looking through like a screen of a window. So yesterday a little bit, and this morning, I was playing around with like the adaptive cruise control, the lane keep assist. Those are the two I'll talk about here for a second. So the lane keep assist, if you don't, you can turn on and off if you want the steering correction. If you don't have the steering correction on, it's very mild, just a slight vibration. You get an illumination on the dashboard, kind of showing you which lane you're hitting. If you do turn that steering assist on, I don't know, I don't personally like it for driving around town or on a daily basis. It almost feels like it could be a dangerous feature to have, being that you're paying attention, you're driving down the road, and even if you get a little too close, it's correcting you. And I found that to be quite bothersome, especially when I was going around a turn. The adaptive cruise control, my first impression of it was quite good. That adaptive cruise control, as long as you're in traffic, it will bring you all the way down to a complete stop at a stoplight, and then it'll cue you on the dashboard to hit your accelerator to start going again. And it'll bring you right back up to where your speed was. I thought that was great. It did a great job of following the car in front of me. Here's the kicker. I had a car that came across me cross traffic that was fairly close, and I was being observant of the system at that time. The system did not recognize the car at all that was in cross traffic, so it didn't hit the brakes at all. If I was driving without that system on, I was close enough that I would have hit the brakes. The other thing is if you're not in traffic on the adaptive cruise control, and say you're coming up to a stop light where cars are at a dead stop, but you didn't have a car in front of you gauging that, I got close enough to the point where I hit the brake pedal and wasn't willing to trust what the car was going to do. So I'm assuming it would have stopped, but it got close enough to the point where I was not comfortable trusting it anymore. The ride quality of the Discovery Sport is quite good. I was earlier today on a freeway that I know is like a washboard freeway, and the way it soaked up the bumps was, it was pretty surprising actually. Little top heavy. This is by no means geared to be a sport SUV, regardless of that R dynamic badge. that's on the door sill as well as the side of the vehicle. They promote, Land Rover promotes that this is a off-road capable vehicle. Looking at it, however, with those big wheels and its fancy paint job, I just don't really see people pursuing this for its off-road capability. The acceleration, the engine, it's a bit of a letdown. It does give you enough power that it doesn't make you feel like you're underpowered from a stop. If you're on the highway and you're going to pass a car or you're going to get heavy under the throttle while you're already in motion, that's when I feel it's a bit of a letdown. And that RPM, the red line goes all the way up to 6,500 RPMs when you're in the dynamic setting, and it just seems like it goes on forever and doesn't really give you the feeling that you're gaining any momentum. So this is something I wanted to highlight as well. Right now I'm just sitting at a standstill, but I have the car in reverse with the rear view camera on. I noticed this last night when I was pulling out of a parking spot. Based on this camera view where I have the bumper here, you would think with certainty I am going to hit that truck. I'm going to have Austin now look in the side view mirror and show you what we're actually looking at. The point being is the rear view camera, I feel, is quite deceiving. In the top model HSE here, we do have that ZF 9-speed transmission. ZF is the manufacturer of the transmission. Extremely common transmission that has incredible reviews. I have the the ZF 8 HP transmission and the F-Type. I think it's brilliant. BMW uses it. It's a very widely used transmission. The transmission shifts in the Discovery Sport are pretty much non-existent. It's a very comfortable, very smooth ride, and that's what I do like about it. We are driving the highest optioned engine, little 4-cylinder, little turbo, shy of 300 horse and torque. And again, it does the job. It doesn't make you feel that it's underpowered, but if you're using that as the comparison tool to the competition, I think you're gonna find it coming up short in the performance category. Gas mileage as well, you're gonna be coming up short. My driving, I've gone over a half a tank, which kind of blows my mind because it doesn't feel like I've driven that far. However, maybe I'm just enjoying my drive so much that I'm not realizing how far I'm going. My gas mileage I am averaging is about 17 miles per gallon. Low 20s could be expected on the highway.
Summing up the Discovery Sport 290 HSE. I really like this car. I think it is an awesome luxury car. I think it looks awesome. I think the interior is great. However, the price is a bit high for my liking, especially for some of the quality that there is still.
Yeah, we started talking that you can get a Discovery Sport for the mid-30s or high 30s.
Yeah, and that's what I thought when we first got in this. I thought it was going to be mid-30s.
If this car was that price, I would be about it all day long.
Yeah, that'd be an awesome car. And when we got in this, I was like, oh my goodness, this is a fantastic car. And then I started to option it out online, and I'm like,
we got into the 60s in a hurry.
This isn't right. And it was like, this isn't a $40,000 car. Oh wow, H1. That's pretty cool. But yeah, as I started adding options, I mean, we get these whatever. There's even these dynamic settings. It's a $1,500 option. We get these wheels. It's a $1,500 option. This paint, $700 option. The sunroof, this $1,300 option. You know, you get navigation. Everything costs so much when it comes to options. This car has around $12,000 in options.
The HSE does give you all the things that you would want in standard form, I would think. At least I would be happy with what I was seeing as the standard options. Just depending on where you live, if you need the heated seats and stuff like that, that might take you to another level.
Yeah. But I think the starting price is right around $51,000 for the HSE.
Yep.
And then when we got all the options on that this one had in particular, I think we're around $65,000, $68,000 in options on this car. So it's really expensive.
It is. And when I look at that price to compare it to the competitors, I get turned off a little bit.
Yeah,
But
there's a lot of cars I think I'd rather have over this for that money.
Yeah, the thing that's unfair for the Discovery Sport, though, is I don't know that there's really a true competitor in the sense that it is supposed to be geared a little more to having off-road capabilities. Now, it doesn't have a locking differential, and it's just an all-wheel drive system. Land Rover says you don't need that locking differential anymore because of the low-end torque that the engine is producing.
Yeah, and this actually has a low-end launch, which is one of the options that you get with those dynamic modes.
I am ultimately a huge fan of the design, both interior and exterior. I love all that. The issue I have is the price and what I'm experiencing overall. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about the Discovery Sport in general. I can be nitpicky, but I start getting more nitpicky when we talk about that starting price.
So I think this car is going to be awesome, just like our Jaguar F-Type in the used market category.
Getting one of these on the certified pre-owned market, I think is going to be a pretty hot commodity. The Discovery Sport was Land Rover's best-selling vehicle in 2017. With the refresh and redesign, making it look a little more elegant on the outside, I fully believe this is going to be a strong competitor, not only for Land Rover, but in all the segments as far as sales.
That's sort of where I am seeing the whole British cars come in, is the used market is where they absolutely destroy. They're the best deal you can get on the market for luxury, performance, for the price.
I've said it numerous times before, and I do stand by it still. I think that the whole JLR brand in general is probably one of the most underrated brands on the market. The whole issue is they're continuing to shovel themselves out of the kind of heritage of reliability.
Yep.
I think the tides are turning, though.
I do too. They're definitely starting to become pretty reliable cars.
Guys, thank you for tuning in to today's video. If you're in the market, have any additional questions about the Discovery Sport, comment down below. Love to talk cars in general. If you were looking at this but purchased something else, would love to know why. So would the other viewers.
Like, subscribe. If you guys want to watch our Mercedes GLC 43 AMG, you can go ahead and click here. If you want to see our F-Type, you can click here. If you want to subscribe, click here. And check out us tuning a Camry, click here.